There's a lot of solutions out there that are just, they're perceived as quick fixes, and it's just, okay, let's flood the body with this hormone, let's try to fix it that way. But in reality, since we all have exercise physiology backgrounds, everything that started working for us, including like the first diet method that I tried that actually worked for me, I later then discovered that it was all tied around balancing hormones and triggering HGH naturally. So there's actually a ton of things you can do naturally as far as the diet you choose to be on, the way you choose to exercise, and just other lifestyle factors in addition to natural supplements. All of those things can get your hormones and your HGH and your testosterone levels back in check. So then if you do need additional synthetic medical supplementation, you only need a little bit of it, and we'll explain in a minute why that's best.
Exactly. So there's, this is a whole list of all the different stuff that actually happens if your HGH levels are plummeting, falling, going down lower and lower and lower.
And again, it decreases starting at age 25. So this is not like, 45 and what happened. No, this has been going on for 20 years at that point.
Exactly. So your body's growing until 25, and then it starts to break down starting at 26 and until so. And it's just little tiny amounts. And so most of the time you don't even pick up on it until you're like, wait a minute, nothing I'm doing is working. So this is what we're addressing when you get to that point. So now what about people that get on HGH prescriptions from their doctor?
Okay.
So
well,
we've got some experience with
I love horror stories. And these are always kind of like, you can either make the mistake yourself or you can learn from somebody else's mistake. These are some of the mistakes that I learned the most from, and that further me in my research of these natural ways to remedy things. So one female that we both know, who was a client, she was having such massive hormonal premenopausal mood swings that she wouldn't even know what day of the week it was. And then every time that she would go to the doctor to get her levels checked, it would take 3 weeks for them to change anything. Then it would take another 3 to 4 weeks for the hormones to actually like get an accurate count of how it affected her body. And then she just kept pendulum swinging back and forth between what was too high, what was too low. They'd give her something, it wouldn't move anything, and then it would move it all the way over, and then her back was hurting, her feet were hurting, she couldn't even work out anymore, everything was just so painful. So that is probably the worst horror story of improper hormonal supplementation on the female end. On the male end, we had a male client that ended up in the emergency room because his prostate was so enlarged he couldn't even pee, and he was in there for a couple of days. And they had to make sure that he didn't have prostate cancer because everything was so swollen and so enlarged. So again, just anecdotes as to why you should do as many natural things as possible.
Right. And natural mimics our body so much better than just a regular pharmaceutical drug does.
Well, it triggers the release in your body. It's not putting anything in. It's literally triggering the natural production. Because the problem is after 25, your body's not growing anymore. So growth up until that point of your bones, your muscles, your organs, everything is literally growing. You're in growth spurts until the age of 25. Well, when you don't have that going on in your body, there's not a trigger anymore. So you have to actively trigger it on purpose with diet, with exercise, and with natural supplementation.
Exactly. And so a drug actually is dumping stuff in your body versus a natural supplement.
A natural trigger.
What you already have.
It triggers your human growth hormone, which is the goal.
Right. That's the goal. Okay. So in 20 plus years of fitness, we never focused on supplements ourselves. So beyond just regular vitamins, and then I got into supplements that helped me with digestion and irritable bowel and lactose intolerance. But other than that, we never really got too much into a lot of different supplements until we started to say, oh my God, what's happening to our metabolism? So much is just, we're just not getting the results that we're used to getting.
We also didn't really buy into aging as an excuse because we saw so many people that just used it as a common excuse. And so I was like, I'm never saying that. And I would always correct people on it. And then, metabolism, we would just try to out exercise it. So it was just, okay, diet better, exercise more, just stay ahead of it. Like, don't use age as an excuse. And then it actually turned into the athletic performance side. We were like, wait, we're not recovering. Like, our bodies literally can't perform and aren't recovering. We have to trigger this human growth hormone. So that's how we discovered it when we both started training for USA track and field, masters track.
Exactly. And so that's a big thing, what she just said there, recovery. So when you are not, and a lot of times you think if you're just sleeping that you're going to recover. No, my muscles were not recovering like they should. Everything was just taking forever to actually feel back to my normal self. Even my soreness wasn't the typical soreness that I was used to. So that's how we knew something's wrong. Something's off here in our body.
When you work out hard and you don't have the proper hormones released for recovery, it actually creates a very stressful situation in your body, and it releases more cortisol. And so it actually creates a fat storing situation. And that's why you're so hungry sometimes afterwards. If everything's in balance, then you're literally not hungry. Your hunger is, your appetite's literally killed, and it triggers a lot of fat burning. So it's literally one extreme or the other.
It is. And that's how hormones work. That's exactly how hormones work. So you need to keep them in balance, but they are so sensitive that if you dump too much artificial stuff in, pharmaceutical artificial stuff, you're going to really throw the balance off there. So, and that's exactly what she was saying in the horror stories. People, the clients that we know were going to actual doctors and just getting too much of medications putting in their body and just swinging.
Yeah, they weren't just doing what they could naturally.
Yeah, exactly. So we're big into just trigger what would happen naturally in you, get you back into a good feeling, and so forth. I have another client. This is another example. This is a great example. She started using our supplements, and she was waking up in the middle of the night for years. And so years and years and years. And then finally she stopped waking up in the middle of the night. It was making her rest so much better. And that rest is where repair comes in. That's where the anxiety starts to come down. That's where the body fat starts to be burnt when we sleep. So the body burns the most fat at rest. And so all night long we're burning fat. Well, if you're waking up or you've got irritable sleep and you're kicking the blankets off over and over, that's proof that the body's not resting well. And so it's definitely not burning body fat. That means it's a slower metabolism and you're storing too much body fat. So we decided to make the first initial 3 of these kits. We tested them on ourselves. I've been on it for about 14 weeks now. So fantastic results have been happening for us. And then we started helping several of our celebrity clients. Why? Our celebrities are always in demand for the next cutting edge thing. So that's why we always move to actually supplement them, test out our protein shakes or our detoxes on them, because they're getting paid to actually look good and paid to look young in order to keep their careers, especially as females, in order to keep their careers past the age of 27, 28. And so they really have to work hard. And so we tested on them. We also did a test trial on our pro athletes, several pro athletes and collegiate level athletes. Again, the performance levels were great. Body fat was coming down, sleep and rest and recovery. That's what we're looking for. So you can read on there all the different celebrities that we've trained, even an executive chef for the 4 seasons. All these different people have actually been on our supplements, and we currently do I'd say about 200 people a month are actually on our LTE supplements as of this point, and we just launched this. So we're getting rushed and flooded with people. All right, so we're almost there. We're coming